Have you ever been asked a question and your response to it just didn't come out right? Where you just ended up rambling on and on and you ended up not giving a clear answer? After that, how confident do you feel when you botched the magic moment? Today on the Sales Life, I'm going to show you how to magically develop your confidence and prepare in such a way where it looks impromptu, but it's actually very well crafted. This is the Sales Life. I'm your host, Marsh, Buice, and I created the Sales Life because I believe the number one skill that you need in life is the ability to sell. But you don't have to be in sales to learn how to sell. The skills that I've learned in this profession, it's 5 of them: communication, curiosity, creativity, continuous learning and action, and productive confrontation. I'll show you how I've taken those skills and applied those to every area of my life to embrace uncertainty, handle the adversity, and be RFA, ready for anything. So if you're trying to get back up after life has slapped you down, or you're trying to move up because you feel like your life is kind of stalled out, if you want to have more, do more, be more, then you're going to have to learn to sell more. I'm so lucky to be here with you and excited to bring you today's message about how you can magically create confidence. At 19 years old, Ben Francis was running a $1 billion clothing brand named Gymshark. I know the brand very well. My wife loves to wear it. She looks great wearing it too. Can you imagine at 19 years old running a $10,000 business, much less a $1 billion business? I couldn't even imagine. And Francis, as head of the company, understood that he was going to have to speak in front of large audiences. Those people are people with way more experience, way older than him, deep pockets, and probably intimidating. So Ben Francis found himself with a problem. Actually, 2 problems. 19 years old, running a $1 billion business, and he was awkwardly shy. To prepare, he took a page out of Winston Churchill's playbook and he began to prepare his impromptu responses. And the way that he did this is he anticipated the questions and prepared and rehearsed his responses and embedded these trigger words to those questions so that when he's asked these questions, because he's already anticipated and prepared for these questions, he was able to immediately attach that question to the trigger and roll out with a very well prepared response. See, it looked like it was impromptu because he had no idea in section C what the question was going to be asked. And he had no idea what this guy to his left was going to ask him either. So he prepared in such a way all these different triggers and crafted stories in and around those triggers so that when he's asked, it looks like it's impromptu. I didn't know that was coming, but he actually made it look like he was trying to think it up. And then he would roll out with a smooth response. These stories were the Gymshark story. How did you even come up with the name Gymshark? Trigger, rolled out with a response. What's your biggest challenge as a 19-year-old running a $1 billion brand? I mean, you're not even legally able to drink. Trigger, smooth response. See, he prepared, he anticipated these kind of questions. So that way, even though he was awkwardly shy, he was prepared in such a way that he was RFA. He was ready for anything. I truly believe in doing this. This is how you actually discover your authenticity. I don't think you just be authentic. Many people just say, be authentic. I don't think you can do that. I think you can discover your authenticity by preparing and anticipating what questions you may be asked and developing these trigger words. Then you can generate better responses. And through these reps, you can actually let go of these automatic responses, distance yourself from them, and begin to sit in silence and search for the answer. When you're being authentic and you've done this enough, you can drop the ego and say less of what people want to hear and sit in silence and really give it some thought and respond in a way of what needs to be said. So here's what I want you to take away from this. Be so prepared that your responses look impromptu, but put in so many reps that it becomes impromptu. So to help you with this, let me give you a few examples that you can actually relate to. The most common one is a job interview. And, an interview is coming up. Nobody has ever just grabbed you off the sidewalk and said, hey, you want to interview real quick? There's an interview coming up. And yet so many times we think that we can wing this. This is where the magic comes in. You want it to look like it's a little bit winged. You want it to look like it's a little bit off the cuff. But actually, as you're going into this interview, be prepared in such a way for specific answers in and around those questions that it gives the interview some full bodiness to it. Now, the first thing I want you to do is Google some common interview questions. If you have a mentor or someone who's in management, ask her, hey, what questions do you normally ask? And then based on that, you anticipate these questions. You craft your responses. You rehearse it over and over again. You embed some trigger words in that. So that way, when you have the interview, it looks impromptu, but it's very, very well prepared. What's the most common question that you're asked when you kick off an interview? Well, tell me about yourself. How many people botch this one question? They end up rambling on and on and on and on. And you sit down in the chair and you think that you're ready, but you're so nervous and so unprepared that you say, I came here when I was 9 because my mom was a meth head and I had no place to stay and my aunt took me in. And then you go on and on and on about the story. As an interviewer, I'm like, whoa, okay, this interview's over, right? Especially the higher the stakes. So if I'm looking for someone in an executive position and you sit down in that chair and go with that, you're out. So instead, anticipate that question, embed some trigger words in that question, develop a story in or around, and then prepare your impromptu responses. Tell me about yourself. I'm originally from Brownsville, Texas. I came here to live with my aunt at age 9. And as soon as I was legally able to work, I got a job at Kroger, hustling up the buggies in the parking lot. And I ended up moving up through the ranks. I passed people up that had been there forever. And I was the youngest assistant manager in that store. And I worked 40 hours while going to school full time. See, this looks like it was impromptu. Very well prepared. See how I stuck to the story? And actually, here's the magic part of it. Magicians have what's called a forced tell. And what a forced tell is where they actually plant different things, different objects, words, phrases, unbeknownst to the person playing along with them. They're forcing that person in the direction that they want to go. And so in crafting your impromptu responses, that's exactly the same thing. See, I did a forced tell. I came to live with my aunt. I was the youngest manager ever. I passed up all the other people that had been there. See, I planted those. These are forced tells because I want the interviewer to grab those and ask me about that. And when they do, guess what? I'm already prepared for that answer. That's how you walk out of an interview puffed up. You're confident. radiates. That's the kind of thing that I'm talking about. When you're preparing, you got to prepare for some conflict. Anticipate and prepare for some valuable qualities that you offer. Not just the I'm good with people, I really like to work, and then hey, I need every Saturday off. So craft a story, man. Give me something tangible as an interviewer as I'm listening to you that I can hold on to. And then paint the picture of plans for a future. Now, here's the thing. When you're preparing for these kind of things, it's like bullets in a clip of a gun. You may not use them all, but you got them in there. They're all in the clip. So when these triggers need to be pulled, you hear it. You've already got a well-crafted impromptu response rolling out. What about if you're going to be going on someone else's podcast? Tell me about what the sales life is. I can't get on someone else's podcast to the sales life. Well, I've been selling for 24 years and I really like it and I really want to help people out. No, it doesn't work. It's got no confidence. Marsh, Buice, welcome to the sales life. So happy to be here. Thanks for having me. Well, tell me, what is the sales life? Impromptu response? See, you can put a pause in there. And that's where it looks like you can look up. I've already got it ready. But see, this is the magic part of it. I've already crafted for it. I'm not going to ramble on and on. Well, Chuck, I believe the number one skill that you need in life is the ability to sell. It's not just a profession. Selling is an action. It's something that's fluid. And I believe there are 5 skills that we have in the sales profession that you can use in your life as well. Because sales and life are the same thing. 1 minute you're on top of the world, the next minute the world's rolling back on top of you. So if you develop these 5 skills that you already have within, communication, curiosity, creativity, continuous learning and action, and productive confrontation, if you develop these 5 skills, you'll be able to embrace uncertainty, handle the adversity, and be what I call RFA, ready for anything. Now, see how I responded to that? What is the sales life? I've already got that ready. But the other part too is when I'm preparing, I can embed triggers on each one of those 5 words: communication, curiosity, creativity, continuous learning and action, and productive confrontation. Those 5 skills. So now I can embed stories, impromptu responses if the interviewer wants to take it in that direction. Well, many people say that they're not creative. Well, creativity is basically this: when you lack resources, can you become resourceful? Boom. Everybody relates to that. Everybody relates to being a 9-year-old and you don't have a basketball goal. But I can take a piece of plywood and nail it to the tree with an old basketball rim and nail that to the piece of plywood. And boom, now all of a sudden I have a basketball goal. See, that's the creativity. That is something that people can relate to. And if you can do that as a 9-year-old, you can do that as a 90-year-old. See, that's how you build these things. And because I've done this so many times, I've done over 1,000 podcast episodes and videos. Now I have developed the confidence to be able to distance myself less from those triggers. I don't rely on those triggers as much as I do anymore. So I can rely less on those triggers and really search for a deeper answer. This is what I call created confidence. And created confidence is where you prepare in such a way that you outwardly look confident, even though you may be dying inside. But you prepare in such a way, your responses, where you've anticipated, drilled over and over again, rehearsed your impromptu responses. So when it becomes live and you're in the moment, I can respond and roll out with well-crafted stories. That's that outward confidence. It's embedded. It's the magic. And because I handled myself well, that creates the inward confidence. And that inward confidence continues to build up through the reps. And that's what pushes out for that overall confidence. This is magic. If you're in sales, preparing impromptu responses is so key, man. And if you think about it, there's only like 8 to 10 common objections that you're hit with. Yet it seems like we're always caught off guard with those same common objections because you think that you're going to be ready the next time. You didn't handle this one well, but you're going to be ready for the next one. I'm going to be ready for it. And then it may not come for weeks. And then you get hit with it and you're not ready. Think about this. If you prepared in such a way that you anticipated these questions, you already know what the questions are going to be. You already know what the objections are going to be. So you anticipate them, you rehearse them in and around, and then that way you're not caught off guard. So when you get hit with these objections, and because you've already embedded these trigger words, you can address their concerns. You can offer reassurances. And you can pepper in some stories from previous experiences that you've had with customers who have shared that same concern and how you were able to help their situation. And here's the thing, even if you're new, you can borrow someone else's experiences, meaning that you take a seasoned salesperson, you listen to their stories and how they've been able to help, and now you incorporate that as you're building your book of business. This is what I call borrowed experiences. So that way, when an experience comes up, you can retell the story, and it creates that confidence where the customer feels like it actually came from you. Now, as soon as I make this sale, now I can own it, and now I can share that story. See, you're preparing these impromptu responses, and as you do this, you get more confident on the outside. It develops that inward confidence. That inward confidence pushes back out, and you become overall confident, and people gravitate toward that. This is how you command the room. Through the reps, anticipating the questions, preparing your response, embedding these triggers, and you'll distance yourself along the way and be able to sit in silence in search for the right answer. Thanks so much for being a part of the Sales Life. For more on the Sales Life, go to marshbuice.com. That's MARSHBUICE. And there you will find thousands of videos, blogs, and of course, podcast episodes. While you're at marshbuice.com, in the bottom right is a mic from you to me. Let me know what's going on in your world and how I can help. I'm no hair, but I'm all ears. Remember, the greatest sale that you will ever make is to sell you on you, because you're more than enough. Stay amazing. Stay in the Sales Life.